Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. It is 4 o'clock on the East Coast right now. We have Mike McCarthy getting ready to do a press conference here. We've got actually some word on Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz apparently has a PCL injury. PCL injury that is basically the same thing that Zeke Elliott had. No word if he's going to be missing any time just yet or not. We've also heard that Dak Prescott could possibly play for the Washington game or the Rams game, per Stephen Jones. We'll see if that actually is the case or not. The bigger question is, if the Cowboys let's say they go out and they beat the Giants, do you rush Dak back against Washington or do you take your time? And that one, I don't have the answer for. I guess that will be the talking heads that we have with the Cowboys on what they're going to do on that. So we'll see where we go. We're about 4 hours and 10 minutes away from the Eagles having their game tonight. And I'm trying to get my mind right here tonight because quiet riot, take your time. I'm trying to get my mind right to get ready for this thing tonight. And I've got a stomach ache. My stomach's already burning, so I don't know what it's going to be like tonight when I have to take that sucker on. But I do have some ice cream and I do have some milk just in case. Let it heal. Right. I agree with you. Take your time on that one. Don't rush them back. If we can get a win against the Giants next week, that kind of gives us a little bit more breathing room. And I hope that we don't necessarily try and get it out there too soon and make it worse. So we're just waiting for Mike McCarthy to come to the podium here so we can see what our fearless leader has to say about them boys. How you guys feeling today with the victory yesterday? You feel good? Feel like we were just lucky? You think that was just a Band-Aid? Normal guy. We are waiting for the Mike McCarthy press conference here. I just happened to be down here in the man cave, and thanks to damn Gina notified me that it was about to go off. That was a beautiful win last night. Cowboys forever. Johnny Hernandez. We needed a victory bad. Yes, Cooper Rush, the Matt Flynn. Well, it could be. Could be. Normal is boring. Super duper Cooper is Rush we trust. At least for, well, I tell you, here's what was kind of funny. It was funny how the first half everybody was on board and basically saying, oh, man, Dak's not the guy. Cooper Rush, man, trade Dak. Second half, people were like, damn, Cooper Rush, man, that guy's a bum. It's like, wow, we can't even get a consensus on one game with them. You know, not the whole season. We're talking about one game. Feels better, that's for sure. Well, it's nice to be able to not have to be ranting and raving and being pissed off today. It's definitely a better feeling having a victory and knowing that Washington lost as well than what we had last week. Last week was just brutal. Last week, man, that killed me last week. It's just like, that was truly a slap in the face. And quite frankly, right now, as we look at it, with us being 1-1 after going against, the AFC participant in the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, when we were looking at the schedule, we were saying if we could just win one of those two games, it would be nice. Well, we did win one of those two games. And, Michael Gallup could be playing this weekend. It could be Dak comes back in a week or two. You're going to end up having... Let me see. Are we still? No, I was getting the wheel of death over there on the feed. Just make sure it's still there. Kellen Moore needs to go. Went into a shell second half. Played not to lose. I have to agree with you on that one. It was like the tale of two halves there. And finally, Daniel Pertez feeling good. We have a chance with the rush. Is Mike okay? He saw he was a little gimpy. He tweaked his ankle a little bit, but I think he's going to be okay. He basically said, at this time of year, everybody's a little bit nicked up and stuff, and you play through pain. Unless his leg was cut off, he'll be out there playing. I can guarantee that one. He might even be out there even if you cut his leg off. But the Bucs defense is tough. You saw the Saints game. The Bucs defense is true. I agree with you on that one. And we also may be looking at the Cincinnati Bengals, actually maybe not as good as we think, that maybe they were the one-hit wonders and are going to have a hard time this season. If they don't do something on that offensive line, as bad as our offensive line played last week, it was nothing in comparison to what we saw yesterday. They have given up 13 sacks in 2 games. That is not a recipe for winning. You got Joe Burrow on pace to get sacked 107 times. You literally will get that guy killed if that's going to keep up. The chip. Oh, God. The chip. I'm not looking forward to that tonight. I will do it because the Cowboys won, but I'm not looking forward to it. That's going to be tough. That's going to be real tough. Ugh. Let's see. Oh. Still waiting on the music. Okay. That music kills me from them. It just kills me. Oh, boy. Eat it. Just eat it. Okay, I will eat it. Dagnabbit, I'll have some rubber gloves on to make sure that drink Pepto before you eat the chip. That might not be a bad idea. Mark, don't chip it out. Oh, I won't chip out. I've done one before. I did one before a couple years ago. Actually, I did it for Stu. Stuart, we did for Rest His Soul for his charity. And I believe it was in October, too. No. Lee Kaysen? No. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. All right, Mike McCarthy, come on now. We ain't got all day here. And in case you just tuned in, we're saying that we now have an issue with Dalton Schultz. He does have a torn PCL and or sprained PCL, similar to what Zeke had last year. We don't know if he is going to miss any time or not. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Michael Gallup may be able to play. He'll be on basically a pitch count where he would be able to get about 10 or 15 plays or so. And Dak, they're saying, at least Stephen Jones is saying, that it is possible for Dak Prescott to be back for the Washington or the Rams game. So that's where we are. Here we go.
What impact did Micah have on yesterday's game, and just overall, since he's been here in less than 20 games, just speak to just how he's become ingrained with what you're doing?
Micah wreaks havoc. He's definitely a focal point for every one of our opponents. You could see that last year. We played him, exclusively, at the defensive end position yesterday. So, obviously had a huge game. And Captain Obvious question, Captain Obvious answer. I don't know what else to tell you. I was actually expecting a little better question from you coming out of the gate.
Seems a little happier this week.
He should be first. So,
That might be a Jeopardy for question 2.
Yeah, no.
Just piggybacking on Mike. What does he do with?
Of course.
What does he do with other guys? Though you saw him open up things. They gave him attention and opened up things for other guys.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's a perfect example. The definition of an elite player. Elite players make everybody around them better, both on and off the field. And I think you're seeing him grow in more ways than one. But yes, he gets a lot of attention. Whether it's sliding the line to him, having the back.
What? The heck?
What was? I'm sorry. Did I miss something?
What the heck was that?
Well, that was.
David, at least you didn't have the worst question.
Oh, weird. Yeah, David, you're off the hook.
You wanted it now next to last.
Yeah.
He said
What did he say?
Commanders will win. So there's your bulletin board.
Oh, the Commanders will win.
I know what he said.
Oh,
He said communism.
Communism.
Oh, man.
Steered it into
Social statement.
Washington got Ridgeway, Gina.
And David,
Mike is a great player. Next question. And he played great yesterday. Again. So that was different. Yeah.
All right, 3 and out from the
Did you see
group.
him coming in?
Washington got John Ridgeway. No.
Skyler Dixon with the AP.
You know why they
Said
got
in
him.
that first
I'll get to
answer,
that.
played exclusively at defensive end. I know you don't want to give away game plans, but and he said during training camp, I don't want to limit myself and where I am. I mean, do you see it leaning more that way going forward, or do you still see him bouncing around?
Well, I mean, really, the philosophy of how to utilize Micah hasn't changed. I mean, we have to continue to create targeting challenges for the offense. I think both his ability to play on and off the line of scrimmage is a huge asset for us, and also I think clearly gives us the opportunity to create matchups from different ways, different challenges that you're able to put on there. I just know from an offensive perspective, when you have to, it makes the offensive staff of the opponent work harder. The challenging of where he is either fourth rusher, is either fifth rusher. And at the end of the day, we're just trying to continue to create opportunities for him. So we won't change our approach.
John Machado, The Athletic. Cooper Rush after the game, at least on the field, seemed like about as excited as we've ever seen him in the press conference. Yeah, in the press conference, he wasn't like that at all. He was back to his normal self. How much do you think him having the demeanor that he has helps him late in the game in those type of situations where I think a lot of people will probably be nervous, and he probably isn't?
I mean, excellent point. I think you saw that in both the 2-minute drills. The offense was 2 for 2 in 2 minutes, and that really plays to his personality. So he's just very decisive. And I thought he played a really solid game yesterday, and had some plays that you'll obviously look at and grow from. But it's fun to see him excited because obviously that's him getting out of his comfort zone. But I think it clearly helps him in situational football.
Jane.
Oh wow,
Noah Brown.
this is a fun day today. Yeah.
Jane Slater, NFL Network. We typically see Noah Brown pop in the preseason, and I know it's been 6 years since he's been here. Why do you think he was able to be as effective as he was last night? Is there something to his time with Cooper Rush working with the twos?
I mean, in my opinion, honestly, I think it's just the fact that he's given more opportunities. I mean, you look at Noah. I know in the prior 2 seasons, he wasn't given a lot of opportunities. It was mainly special teams, and he rotated in. I mean, just the fact that he's playing more, and the attention CD gets, in the passing game, he's cashing in on his opportunities. So, just couldn't be happier for Noah. I mean, he's worked so hard. I know my first year here, he's just coming back off of a major injury, and I know the training staff, because it's just like anything. You don't know these guys, and you're asking about them, and just the love that they had for him going through the rehab, and and I know I said it again yesterday, and I just to show the quality of the football player. I mean, how many number 2 receivers are your personal protector on your
Mary,
punt team?
what's
So,
up? Gina.
I think that speaks volumes of how we feel about him, but most importantly, just the quality and toughness that he plays the game.
This is a Captain Obvious take 2. When you have a player like Dak Prescott who's going to be out for several games, a lot of times you'll see a team will take several games to adapt to playing without him. What does it say about your team's ability to adapt seemingly as quickly as it did yesterday for that and just going forward?
I think like anything, it just starts at the beginning of the week. I mean, the team, yes, we were disappointed the way week 1 went, and as far as how it came out. But I mean, I think like anything, the offense lost their starting left tackle. Then week 1 we lose their starting quarterback and starting right left guard. So, but that's what you spend the off season for. You have menus and concepts, and and frankly, I think our younger players were able to get a lot of work in the preseason games. But Cooper got to play a lot in the preseason games. So I mean, would have been able to play more if he wasn't hurt. So I think all those things play into it. So, but I think, just start with Kellen and the offensive staff would just, put together, a game plan that we were able to stick with. And I thought there really wasn't any blink from us. So I know there's conversation around the exterior here. But, at the end of the day, I saw a team that practiced to win the game. It was a preparation. Clearly it was better from week 2 to week 1, and that's what you would expect, and I think, because there's all the little stuff that has to get into place, your look teams and things like that. So, and I'm big into that. I think you just keep, stacking success, keep building, keep grinding, make sure you're having opportunities for the young guys to develop and keep the practice field competitive. Our defense had a hell of a practice too Thursday, and they stepped up huge. I mean, this offense, Cincinnati, we had a lot of respect for them. A lot of respect for Cincinnati's offense, especially their perimeter group. To hold them to no big plays in a game was, it's a huge feather in their cap for our defense. So special teams play big. I just love the last sequence. You get the punt to to pin them back. Great ball location by Brian, coverage. And then the defense gets the 3 and out. And then we get the return. Terp gets a nice return, and then we go down and throw 3 completions and run the ball and church clock it and win the game. So I mean, that's complimentary football. That's who we are, and that's the way we're going to play, and that's the way we want to play each and every week.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to ask you about Turpin.
I didn't give you that.
I was asking about Turpin, but not just at the end of the game, but at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, the returns and the 20-yard at the end of the first half, set up the field goal, and then the 14-yard at the end. How big were those plays? Yeah,
I mean, field position. I think we were plus 50, in the field position battle. So, and a lot of that comes down to special teams and defense, the 3 and outs, getting off the field. The time of possession obviously flipped in the second half. They had the 19-play drive, but you're playing a quality team. I mean, they played in the Super Bowl last year. I mean, they're AFC champions. So I mean, we knew the challenge that we had going into it, but our guys just played our game. And that's what we have to do each and every week.
Mike Todd with ESPN. Why is 12 personnel so effective for you guys? And you have a Dalton and Schultz.
12 personnel.
Dalton, I know they feel better about the scan. I haven't specifically talked to Dalton yet, but so we'll just see how he is. We're going to give him every
PCL
chance
injury
to try to go this week, but frankly, until we get to the end of the week, we're not going to know. So, but 12 personnel's been great. I mean, it's just like anything, in today's NFL, just the way they roll the defensive personnel groups in and out there, and gives you little, better combinations in the run game part of it. And I give our young tight ends a lot of credit. And I think Peyton and Jake have been an excellent addition for us, and we have a lot of confidence in 12.
You didn't run it much in Tampa Bay.
We're a week removed from Dak Prescott's surgery, and I know that you've got the optimism of Jerry and Steven saying he could come back as early as week 4 against the Commanders. We saw him gripping the ball pregame. But as a coach, how do you temper the enthusiasm and optimism, but also wanting to make sure that you've got him there for the long haul and there's not further complications?
Well, I just believe, just like anything, when you're dealing with medical situations, when there's surgery, there's stitches. And he'll get his stitches out at some point this week, and that's the first threshold that I think you always want to get over before you get into timelines. That's my approach. So I'm looking forward to when he does get the stitches out, and hey, he's doing everything you think he would do. He's pushing the envelope and so forth, and he's getting the swelling down, and it's starting to look. It looks pretty good, but let's get the stitches out first.
Yeah, man.
Calvin.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Dallas Morning News. Left side of your offensive line, you got some young guys there. How impressive you been with the fact that you had to throw them in there so quick and
Yeah, they had tough matchups too yesterday too. Especially Matt and I thought Tyler definitely took a step forward, and then they had some plays we'll definitely learn from. Tyler had a thump Semi that was excellent, but he still set like he wasn't getting thumped and got beat inside. So so they had a handful of plays that they'll definitely be better from. But just 2 young men to just line up and play and keep playing, and that's all you can ask for. I mean, Tyler's an alpha. He's an alpha personality, and this is he enjoys playing. So he definitely improved from week 1 to week 2.
That surprised you how young they are that they're able to kind of impress you a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it just, once again, you just want them to be confident and play free of mind, and I think they both do that. They're very competitive, and that's what they need to be. They're trying to play with the physical traits and consistency that's needed. So I thought they both took a step forward. I mean, like I said, Matt they both had tough challenges, but Matt gave up a lot of experience yesterday.
Christy Scales, Cowboys Radio, all the changes you've had at guard ended up with Luke Gifford fullback blocking yesterday, obviously scored on the play, but how do you do? And do you find the guys to be more engaged when they get to do?
Yeah, I mean, Micah keeps trying to fight for that position, but I'm glad Luke ran in there and blew it up. So, no, Luke was excellent. I mean, and Zach Martin really, pinned the one technique down, and we had a nice crease in there. So, yeah, I think just for his one snap, he was a plus. So, I mean, he did a nice job.
Michael Gallup in Dallas Morning News. What's the plan to integrate Michael Gallup this week, including on Monday?
I mean, the plan for Michael Gallup is to get a full week's work, and he hasn't had that yet. So, and hopefully, when we get to the end of it, we'll be able to make a decision. I think I talked about this last week. I mean, I really want to see Michael go through a second padded practice. So I thought his work last week was excellent. He frankly did a little more than we anticipated at the beginning of the week. So we're going to try to give him a full slate this week and see how it goes.
Hey Coach, Haley Sutton with DallasCowboys.com. Today's my first day, and it's been a wild first day in here, but I've been told all day that the mood today is way better than it was last week. So I guess from your perspective, you come in with a win after a tough week one. How do the guys feel? What's the energy like, and what's your energy like?
Well, I mean, this is a moody bunch right here. I mean, they were a pain last week. There's no doubt about it. But no, I mean, the players are. Yeah, definitely. There's nothing like winning. I mean, that's what it's all about. It was a great locker room. The work has been good this morning. So, yeah, we got a long week ahead of us. But, yeah, this is the vibe you're looking for.
Pat.
Hey, Coach. Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. Speaking of players that you're soon looking to have put on the field, Jason Peters. Initially, when he signed with the team, he said it'll probably take him about a couple weeks to acclimate. We're up against that as far as calendar-wise. Do you see him on the field full through? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, he's done a little more from week 1 to week 2, and we're looking for the same thing. So we really want to get him to the padded team periods, get him more work, and still build up the ramp up. So, that's the plan. We talked about it briefly this morning. Just as how much can he really go this week, and then we'll make a decision at the end of the week. We don't have anything. Both him and Michael, until we see those in Dalton, until we see these guys practice and get through the week, we'll have a better feel for it.
Babe.
Babe Lothmer, Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Cedric Wilson had been here, a number of years and almost got forced into playing last year, and obviously did well, parlayed that into something. Noah Brown had been here a long time. You always have to allow for players to kind of be something other than who you thought they were, or maybe the past regime thought they were with Noah and Cedric.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's real important too. I mean, I think anytime you have an opportunity, I know this is the way I viewed it when I came in here. Today's NFL, you really don't, in my opinion, I don't think you have time to throw out the baby with the bathwater.
He does smack his lips a lot.
I don't think you come in here, torch the earth and start over because you're basically just getting it all cleaned up for somebody else because it just takes too long, And so the fact is, you got to come in and I think the evaluation, especially being a new person coming in, you have your opinions. You've been away, you've competed against the team and so forth, and Noah's a good example of that. I mean, he was a hurt player in rehab when I arrived, but everything you heard about him has come to light. So, and that's why it's exciting to see what he's gone through and how he's done all the tough stuff, on special teams and being a role player and this is what it's all about because you can't have enough good football players, and you definitely don't want to be getting rid of somebody too soon or just because they're part of the past regime. I just don't think that's smart football roster development.
Right.
Jory Epstein, Yahoo Sports. Mike, you've talked about some of the comparisons between Micah and Clay Matthews. I think Micah reset the record for most sacks of a player's first 18 career games yesterday. Clay's up there too. What was the key for him in his second year to continue to have that success after the release?
Well, I just think the biggest thing is you got video. Now you got video. People are, trust me, when they played Dallas Cowboys, he's probably the first one they're talking about in their offensive.
Way to go,
line.
Captain Obvious.
That video, he has attention. He has a spotlight on him. It's brighter than ever. That's all part of, being successful in this league. Because once people have video on you and have different ways to, try to create phone booth situations because of your ability to rush, he'd see, it's a whole different level of exposure that he needs to, keep working at. And because, at the end of the day, he's so disruptive. I mean, they're not just going to let him run free.
Can the same be said about Cooper Rush because this is now only his second career start?
It's fair. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, this is he's
Amen. I'm putting a hurting on Hurts.
I think those are the two most important games because he's in the same system with the same players. So yeah, I agree with that.
Cooper was a undrafted guy in 2017. Noah was a 7th round pick the same year. In your experience, is there maybe a little bit of a special bond with guys like that, fringe roster guys? Do they kind of create a bond in the time they spend together kind of fighting to stay on the roster?
Yeah, I agree. Those guys probably throwing a lot of balls together. You think about, they probably grew up on the look teams together. Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. I watch Aaron Rodgers go through it. When he was backing up Brett. I mean, Brett, he's the ability to be on the look team and get connection with players and so forth. Yeah, I think that happens all over the league.
These injuries, obviously, you'd rather not have them, but when they come early in the season, what does this do for the depth of your team to get the experience early at critical positions like offensive line, quarterback, safety, so forth?
Well, I mean, preferred would you'd want to be a little further down the line before your young players play. I mean, that's been my experience. Because the reality is they're going to play in those November, the youth of your football team normally plays in the biggest games of the year, November, December. So, definitely this experience should pay forward. It's been my experience. So, but yeah, I mean, you don't ever want to have injuries, and if you're going to have them, you'd definitely rather have them at the beginning of the season.
Jane?
Did you take a moment just to celebrate the win last night, given that so many people sort of counted you guys out? You did it with the backup quarterback. I know it's probably back after you're watching film, but did you take a moment just to breathe a little bit and say, got that one under our belt?
Save my job for another week.
I got to really start working on my drama. Because there's times where I just don't feel like I fit in around here. Yeah, I guess I did. I guess so. I'm just going to lie to everybody. Yeah, I took a moment.
Welcome to the membership.
I went in there and got my press conference done as fast as I could. I got a shower and my wife's out of town, so I got home to babysit the girls. So I had a big night.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right, so that was Mike McCarthy. Definitely feeling a little bit better than last week, this time doing a press conference. During that press conference, we found out that we have officially lost John Ridgeway, and I'm sad about that because Cowboys VA brought me a John Ridgeway jersey, which I guess is a collectible now because he is now a Washington Commander. That may be one of those moves that the Washington, well, one, their defensive line stunk, but two, you sign a guy off of another team to basically get the playbook so you can try and get a little bit of an advantage on them. So John Ridgeway, best of luck with the Washington Commanders. And Damian French, shout out to you for becoming a channel member. Go to the community tab. There's a link in there for channel members only that will lead you to our Thrive site, and my wonderful wife Tracy will get your information so we can send you your shot glass. And I'm actually working on a new shot glass, so those of you who are tailgate members and things will be getting another shot glass, and we'll have some stuff that's different. We got to keep being on the cutting edge, and I've been working in the workshop and stuff today. Well, let's say we said that about Quentin Bohannon last year, and it was his rookie year, and he's now a starter. he had potential, and who knows? Because, we've had guys here before that have been released, and we look back later on, and they end up being guys that are winning Super Bowls. So you never know about a player, and, John Ridgeway was one that I kind of liked because he was another big body. He liked to bust heads open and everything else, but he is now dead to me because he is a Washington Commander. Remember what Jerry Jones said he wanted a war daddy? Well, Micah Parsons, you got that right, is definitely a war daddy. He is leading in sacks, pressures, and hurries in all categories. Giant fans get butthurt whenever I start saying that he's doing things like LT. In fact, Rashid last night, what, he ain't done nothing. He ain't done nothing. It's like, dude has now got 17 sacks, the same amount of sacks that Lawrence Taylor had his first 2 years. So, yeah, there's that. So, with all of that, I am going to get my mind right because tonight I'll be eating this, the new Pacquiao Blue Chip during the Washington Commanders game, and we'll see how that goes. We'll definitely be trolling the Eagles and Philly 500. And I'll be eating the chip, and we'll see you guys there. I appreciate y'all. Peace.